Thank you so much.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello friends, I am back with my series of SIP. I always invite some legends. Legends are what I feel are ordinary persons with extraordinary or unmatched desire, dreams and determination. They are the person who fulfill the objective of life and they leave no stone unturned to do that thing. At the same time, they explore, learn and unlearn many bad things. In my series of SIP today, I am honored, happy and humbled to invite new legends. Legends with 30 years plus experience in application engineering, techno-commercial and business development, energy services consultancy and utility sector and electricity regulation, who is the National Sectional Committee members of MET 39, ET16, ET45, ET1 on power quality, and who is a part of ET20 committee and the CA's Electrical Safety Regulation Review Committee, and who has also worked as a director technical with Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission for 7 years, and who was responsible for implementation of Electricity Act 2003 in the state at that point of time. He is currently working as Director Energy Solutions with International Copper Association India, looking after market development program for power quality, transformers, sustainable development, electricity safety. And he is country manager for Asia Power Quality Initiative, APQI, and responsible for growth of copper market and utility and building domains of West Asia / SAARC region. Now, without wasting any time, I would like to invite respected Honorable Manas Kundu Sir, who is the IITN. I would like to add here and would like to thank Manas Kundu Sir for accepting my invitation. And we would like to hear about your beautiful journey. Over to you, sir. Welcome again.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. It's a pleasure to be amidst you. And as you defined, I am not part of the legend, but I am into the association of legends. So naturally, I have.
But when you start living in the company of good legends, you automatically become legends, what I feel.
Exactly. So we start imbibing certain properties from them, certain natures from them. And once we imbibe and learn, then we have only advantage to ours.
Okay.
In my journey, I always consider myself to be very lucky. God has put me by design in this country. He dropped me probably in West Bengal while he was traveling all across. God is all across.
Yeah.
After he put me, then he ensured that I remained in India. I do not know why. He had immensely bestowed me that I could travel across the length and breadth of the country.
Wow.
So
very inspiring.
From a rural village, studying under the bamboo jungles.
Wow.
Going to the next village, studying under thatched huts. Going to the next town, studying under very old traditional institution. And from there, going to one of the very reputed engineering college in my life. And from there, again in the work life, I had a tremendous opportunity to go from village to taluka, to mahakumas, to district, to the capital cities. And ultimately, I always tell that Mumbai has a narcotic effect on anybody who has lived in Mumbai.
Okay.
It is, and that narcotic effect probably has kept me attached to Mumbai for a long time. I came here without any accommodation, without any roof on my head, and everybody at my home, at my hometown, at my college that time told me, "Arey, you are selecting Mumbai for your professional place. You are going to do a big mistake because Mumbai, if you do not have accommodation, you won't be able to survive." Somehow, the speed, the commitment, the fellow feeling which I have seen in Mumbai since 1980s. I came here in 1982, 84, and thereafter it attracted me so much. I wanted to be here, and I did not ever think of migrating to US, Canada. The opportunities were there. I felt this is a place that gives me the dynamism. And somewhere, probably my father also was instrumental in telling me that if you are in Mumbai, you are in a developed country. You don't have to bother about searching for a developed country. Be in your own country, you will be closer to your parents, even if you are on the western side of the country.
Great,
Uh,
great.
so nobody will have any issues, and you will be happy enjoying your job.
Mhm.
At the same time, you will be happy to be in touch with your people.
Respected sir,
So,
if you allow me, I would like to start with a brief description of your education from IIT Kharagpur and after that Master in Management and PG in Patent Law. I want to know about the
okay,
brief of that thing.
sure. See, uh, before that, I just want to say one thing. In my family, everybody was a doctor. My
O-
grandfather, my father.
Okay,
So my grandfather was having a desire that I should be a doctor.
okay.
Uh, Somehow, I don't know, in my childhood, the ceiling fan triggered my imagination that how does it move?
Okay.
What and how does it work? So I was only the black sheep in my whole family to opt for engineering, much to the disheartening feeling of my grandfather. Of course, my brother fulfilled his dream to become a doctor,
Yeah, how
and
difficult it
I
was
became.
to not to follow the dreams of your parents and started dreaming about your own. How difficult it was.
No, I'm lucky. I think in that sense, my parents. I grew up in village with my grandparents, but my parents were in town, Srirampur, in West Bengal, and I'm lucky to have them in my life from the sense they have never dictated terms.
Okay.
Once I finished my schooling, my dad called me and said that do whatever you want to do, whatever is your dream. My job is over. I will give you the support till the time you are established as a human being. Remember this word, as a human being,
Okay.
you educate yourself, and after that, it's your life, and you will climb the horse what you can ride. So you can ride one RB horse, or you can ride one Indian horse, or you can ride one Tattu Ghoda,
Wow.
whatever,
What a
because
great
you will be
story.
riding the horse. If you fall from that horse, it is you. And if you ride the horse, it is you. So will not come across that. That way, I have been very lucky.
But I feel your father
So I
was like
started,
a mentor for you. He always
very,
has been
very much.
instrumental in your
No,
guiding
but
you.
till till 10th standard, he was a terror for us.
Okay.
You know,
Hmm.
11th, 12th standard, we were the first batch in 10 plus 2. In 11th and 12th standard, he started transforming himself into a friend.
Wow.
Okay. And after 12th standard, when I got admission, he became completely friend. He had some chat in the evening. He said, "You will be getting a lot of friends for the glasses, but you will get very few friends for your life. So choose the friends carefully and be with the friends whom you consider as friends, and at any cost of your life.
Wow.
So certain golden words I still remember from them, from my grandparents, from my parent. My father, of course, expired very young. He expired in the age of 57, 58, long back. My mother is now still there. She is again an inspiration because she has never interfered in our choice. But she has just told from her life's experience what can go right, what can go wrong. Uh, and the choice is yours because you are the maker of your life, and God has entrusted with you some responsibility. You should fulfill those responsibility
Guidance from parents always
as your.
plays a good role, vital role in your life.
Absolutely, there is no doubt about that, and we all should be indebted. We cannot overlook that
Hmm.
indebtedness in our life. That is extremely
How was your
important.
life at
And
IIT Kharagpur? That is basically a dream
life
for
at
any
IIT Kharagpur,
engineer to be there.
life at IIT Kharagpur was pretty, interesting. It's all about hard toil. We get overwhelmed by IIT Kharagpur branding. The issue is that I went there for post graduation because my father told me that if you don't do the post graduation, then in tomorrow's world you will become like dinosaur. No more. Only specialization will survive. So you do specialization, whatever you like. So I took power system as a specialization, and that has helped me a lot. And I still understand that today, if you do specialization, then you have your position under the sun. If you do not do the specialization, then uh, we like jack of all trades, master of none, and then we do some uh, ठीक है चलता है. And the
Okay.
other thing in IIT
Then why
life
did you
is,
choose that PG in patent law? What was the story behind
okay,
that?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'll come to that.
Okay.
The other thing which I wanted to tell, IIT is all about hard work, and they choose the intelligence quotient. They nurture that by their hard work. So the professors, uh, they ensure that you are prepared for any adversities in your life. And that's why if you see the IITians, they are ready to put any amount of hard work in spite of any adversity before them. And that
True.
becomes a point of success. Now coming
It is a
to,
basically their strength.
exactly, and you mentioned about PG in patent law. See, when I started working, I came across in my early life, because of my collaborations, my company's collaboration with Japanese company, Togami. I was working under a Japanese gentleman. He was the CEO, Mr. Uchida, Yamato Uchida. Now, he has really influenced our mind a lot. And when he was doing in the shop floor all kind of design and things, he always used to say, do more with less, because we have been blessed by God with plenty of natural resource. We cannot afford to misuse those resources. Number one. Number two, recognize the intelligence and the contribution of other people in your life. And number three, what you have not done by yourself, don't claim that you have done by yourself. So
Great
the
learning.
third point triggered me when I started looking at, as the journey was on, I was looking at that there is, in especially in India, if you see, even after finishing our slides deck of presentation, mm, we fail to acknowledge some of the key resources from which we have borrowed. See, knowledge is not ingrown. We study, we borrow, we learn. So it is necessary to acknowledge. And that is where the patent law attracted me. And I felt that because every time I was seeing that C within bracket, so I was wondering what is this C all about. So
Okay.
he explained me copyright. Uh, and in all our documents that time the copyright was there. And being the Japanese, they were very particular about it. So probably he kept that, seed within myself. And right in the given opportunity, I felt, chalo, kam se kam ye to kar lete हैं.
Great.
So I will know why it is done, how it is done, and if it is done, what are the benefits of it.
Duration
So
of
that's
course
how
was
I
two
got
years.
into the PG into the patent.
What
Yeah,
was
it
the
was 2
duration of
years.
course? 2 years. Okay.
2 years. It
Moving
was
ahead,
postgraduate diploma.
tell me about your brief experience about as a director in MERC, and how did you face the challenge when you were going to implement the Electricity Act 2003 in your state?
Okay, that's again interesting. See, my career started with that Japanese collaboration where we were doing the switchgear. So I was into the switchgear field. Contactor, molded case circuit breaker, pole mounted switch, capacitor switch, pole mounted auto recloser, sectional visor, all that. So it was more into the manufacturing and rural electrification activity.
Hmm.
Now, from manufacturing and rural electrification activity, uh, I became, as usual, I was always impatient in my life. Only now I have started learning how to become patient. so, so I started looking at that what I should do. So that time, energy efficiency became a big thing. The energy efficiency. So I joined from there to TERI, Tata Energy Research Institute,
Right.
and the Industrial Energy Efficiency Center in Bangalore. Now, in Bangalore, uh, when I was with Energy Efficiency Group, we were traveling almost 25 days in a month. Only 4 days or 5 days will be in the station to take our report and again go back to the field. So that was our life. And I was getting little frustrated that so much of instruments, measuring instruments we will carry to the field for measurement, and we'll travel by bus, by train, sometime by flight if the client is very generous. And so I thought, nay, something else I should look forward. So, and I also wanted to come back from Bangalore to Bombay. As I say, Bombay had a narcotic effect on me, on my life. So I wanted to come back here. When I wanted to come back, I was approaching some headhunter if they can get me some opportunity. And luckily enough, again I say, and I always see, look at my life's journey, that man proposes, God disposes. I was thinking something, and all on a sudden, a proposal came from my own boss in Tata Energy Research Institute, Mr. Dayal. He said, Manas, Electricity Act has come in and you want to go back to Bombay. And I am requested by Mumbai chairman, regulatory commission chairman, that whether I can identify somebody and give him. So you want to take up that challenge? I said, of course. No challenge is a challenge. If I think it is a challenge, I will learn through that. Uh, so that was the journey I entered into MERC. Now in MERC, it is a fantastic experience, I would say, because in regulatory commission, you are in a role where you can make lot of difference into people's life. To give you an
True. True.
example, earlier, if you have seen, if you any one of you, if you have 30-year-old electricity bill, you won't be able to make head and tail out of that electricity bill. And that was one thing which caught my attention, that why we cannot make electricity bill is simple, to make me understand that why this electricity bill, how it is arrived at. It is not only the due date of payment and what is the total final payment I have to make. There are certain things inside that. So why we cannot make it? So electricity bill is one. Then if you look at 30 years back or 20 years back, you will see the tariff will have at least n number of tariffs. Different tariffs. So why so many tariff? Why so much division? Because for the purpose of utilization, if it is the same, somebody is using it for domestic purpose, somebody is using for agricultural production purpose, somebody is using for commercial production purpose, somebody is using for industrial production purpose, and the voltage level at which they are using are different. So if only this much matrix is available, why we have to create so many tariff categories? And if you see any state was suffering from that kind of element of tariff category, and the tariff rationalization was one very important part. In the earlier days we took it up. Then I also saw, by virtue of our interaction with some American uh, federal energy regulators, because we went for training there, some of us, and some of us are already there. uh, I mean, the group, 7 of us from all India, we were selected to go for that US training. And we had interaction with California Regulatory Commission. I remember Commission, the chairman, he was explaining us by looking at 70-year-old data of refrigerator. In US, they have maintained data for last 70 years and then taken a decision based on that data, that what should be done to promote DSM or to promote energy efficiency at that point of time. And
But
it
that is
zapped.
missing in India. We don't use such data at all.
Exactly. And that zapped me, that if they can do, why we cannot do? And it was more painful because we became a IT superpower. We gradually transformed into a information technology superpower. Even today, we still say the data is not there. So it is not that data is not there. The data mining is not done very scientifically, and it is not preserved very scientifically, because most of the times we are just reacting. We are not acting on it. So that was one instance. The second instance, he told us, the gentleman and the lady, we had 2 ladies with us, and 5 of us were men. Gentlemen and ladies, if you are in regulatory commission, you should be knowing that you are walking on a thin edge, and you should be very happy if you have taken a decision that both the customers are also unhappy with you and the utilities are also unhappy with you. Then you know that you have taken a correct decision.
Wow.
If only one party becomes happy, then you know that your decision is having some skewed effect.
Okay.
That was very interesting lesson. As a regulator, you have to maintain such an independence approach that your decision will be for the good of the society at large. At the same time, it may be not palatable to the utility, and your decision in long term will be good for the utility, who will be in a better position to serve their own customers. But India during those days, after 2003, obviously they were transforming from that old traditional vertically integrated utility culture, and cultural shock is always a major thing. It is not very easy to overcome. So in MERC, those learnings were very important for me. And in MERC, another thing, I was a rank outsider. I did not come from any government or any government background, so I was not having any baggage. And most of the time, I have seen that my chairman at that point of time entry was the ex-chief secretary, Mr. Subramaniam. And people meeting Mr. Subramaniam, especially the people who have worked under him, they used to make their pant wet in front of him and in front of his personality. He was just out of the world, man of very few words, but absolutely on top of his, diplomacy, bureaucracy, and the decision making.
So, respected sir,
One
because
day,
of the time constraint, I would like to know more about you because there is a time limitation of 40 minutes. And
I'll do that. I'll do that.
yeah, yeah.
This
My
let me
next question
finish
is
because
I want to know about your experience as a member of different committees like MED 39, ET 16, ET 45, ET 20. How did you enter into that committee?
let me close that. Let me close that MERC part.
Okay,
Why I'll tell you so that I link that into the different committee. Okay.
okay,
So my chairman, one day he told me, by looking at my nature of working and dealing with the people, he said, Manas, my door is always open. You come, either you convince or you get convinced and go back to your job. I said, I am game for it. I'll do that. And that is the pattern I always followed. I have never shied away from approaching my bosses when there is a problem. But when there is a problem in hand, we are kept to solve that problem. Most of the time, I see we try to escalate that problem to the next level rather than trying by us to solve that problem. If I fail to solve and if I see that it is going spinning out of my control, then I should take it to the boss. Now in MERC, we were formulating those regulations, supply code, standard of performance, and when we were doing that, I was finding that there are many, 1956, 1948, 1910, all those acts and the laws which are still valid and ruling our things. So I thought that where all these standard and the things which are coming and we don't make it contemporary. That's how I became interested in Bureau of Indian Standard activity. And then I realized the Indian standardization activity, how it is done, how much effort it takes place, how it should be enriched by contribution of various people who are working on the field. Because most of the time we create without any field background and learning what are the difficulties, how it is solved. And this again I have learned from Japanese. Any fault anytime is recorded so well that 5 years down the time, if the same fault is there, the person can just go back to the record and immediately do that fault finding very easily. He doesn't have to do the learning right from the zero again. So that's the difference. So here also I went into, and the first thing, because I was in Terry as a energy efficiency, so MED 39, which is energy sectional committee, I became part of the first group, and we did fantastic thing. Earlier to that, India was never heard into the global platform. We went to China and some other places as a MED committee group, and we told that India operates a railway system which is largest in the whole world. So you do not have to tell us how the railway system energy efficiency contour should be. It is we who will define, and you should accept that. So like that, few pointers which were very interesting, and India contributed significantly for ISO 50,000. Later on, ISO 50,000, of course, went ahead into various things, and it also went into varieties of certification program, where if you see Ireland, UK, they became very, perfect. And another learning during those process, I've seen that as a country, you should have a very strong voice, united voice. Then only you will be recognized into the global platform. Now coming to ET16, ET20, the electrical safety, again it came out of MERC, because in MERC, when we were implementing Act, the electrical inspectorate and all these, by act, they are supposed to be independent, like, the state load dispatch center. So similarly, the electrical inspectorate should have been under the electricity regulatory commission as an independent neutral body whom people can trust. Unfortunately, because of the institutional limitations and the institutional capability, they never became part of the regulatory commission. They remained under the government. And by remaining under the government, from where the budget comes for your activity, you are always having some restriction to do certain things in the way it is supposed to be done. So that became issue. So ET-20, electrical sectional committee, installation sectional committee, I became part of it. Whatever little learning I had from that, I tried to share it with it. And later on, because of the organizational changes, I became more of an associate member rather than principal member.
Okay.
I became principal member into the ET-16 because I took the transformer into my fold. And transformer is one area where India has a lot to do, even now, uh, both in terms of the reliability, both in terms of the efficiency, both in terms of the safety, and 24/7 quality supply delivery. We see electricity has become part and parcel of our life. Earlier, we used to say roti, kapda और मकान. आज के तारीख में वो बिजली, रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान हो गया.
True.
और थोड़ा आगे जाने के बाद ये हो जाएगा बिजली, रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान और पानी. ये होने वाला है और 5 साल में. So if we do not be sensitive about bijli and water, roti, kapda and makan will not do enough for us. So we all should recognize that, and that's how in ET-20 I got engaged. ET-16 I have been very active, and ET-1, of course, that was part of my passion more than my official job. That power quality, when I was in regulatory commission and I came into Copper Alliance, I thought in regulatory commission, I tried my best to push power quality under the agenda, and we got some regulation. But how it is to be implemented? If there is no standard, there is nothing. And I was going around from various policymakers' desk to another desk. They always used to tell me, "Are Kundu, 24 घंटा पावर नहीं दे सकता है." You just think about 10 years back or 5 years back, even 4 years back. 24 घंटा पावर नहीं दे सकता है, तुम पावर क्वालिटी का बात करता है यार, ये छोड़ो, ये बहुत परेशानी हो जाएगा. मैं बोला साहब, हम सोचेंगे तो कर पाएंगे,
सही बात है,
नहीं सोचेंगे तो कर नहीं पाएंगे. And I'm very happy. Finally, the Forum of Regulators, the CEA, everybody, they looked at that the way our situation and our ecosystem of electricity consumption is getting changed. The quality is extremely important. Otherwise, all our sophisticated equipment and production process just fails. And
Respected sir,
model regulation,
there is
standard, and all
time
that.
limitation of 40 minutes, and we are going to close that thing. And I will be inviting you again in the second part of series with Manas Kundu sir. And I would like to say thank you very much. Before that abrupt that automatically stopped, I would like to say thank you very much for accepting my invitation, and thank you sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.